I think we started. Waiting for Facebook to show me that we started. It is, Sunday, April 3rd. I have the date down. So today, I think we might have just started. And Sunday, April 3rd, we are on, what show is this? Oh my gosh, it's one big Groundhog Day going over and over. We're talking about book 9, Gone Haunting. So that means it is behind the scenes show number 8. This is the book. Woo. And I'm going to do a little warming up before we get going. Hi to everybody. Hi, Tara, Joanne, Rick, everyone. I'm not going to look at that the whole time, but I see you're coming on. So let's get started with a little bit of chit chat as we wait for folks to come. I thought I was gonna hold this up the whole time as we waited to get going, but I'm not gonna do that. That is true. Someone eating a salad. Oh, come on. Okay. Before I get going about Deadwood 9 and all the questions and the talk and all that good stuff, let's talk about Deadwood this summer for those of you who are wondering about the fan party. And even this includes some stuff for those of you who weren't planning on going anyway, because there's some other stuff I want to ask your opinions on. First of all, Monday, I listened last Monday. I am part of the, see if I can hold that up, right? Chamber of Commerce. So I get to listen in on and anybody can listen in. But I've been watching Deadwood to see what they're going to decide on their opening and how they're going to open, how they're going to roll it all together. And they are tomorrow at 5, I think, is another meeting, or 4, maybe 4 my time, 5 theirs. They're going to have another meeting and they're going to talk about what they're opening and when. And I have been holding off making anything official about fan party stuff and what we're going to plan to do. But I will tell you, and I kind of said this before, but I'm going to reiterate it. I'm pretty positive we're not going to be able to do the fan party just because I don't think they're going to allow that many people to get together in a room. I think there's going to be limitations in the whole 6-foot rule. And, but at this point in time, and because of this virus, I don't like to make any promises at this point, but at this point in time, Mr. Lucky and I have still kept our reservation for the place we're staying at in Deadwood, and we are planning to come to Deadwood. We're going to hightail it up there, no stops, no overnighting, drive straight through, wear gloves when we fill up, try to do the masks, do everything we can to get ourselves up there safely, and still spend some time there. If the state allows it and there's not a lot of, really big problems going on at that point, we will probably still see if we can do some of the signings, and we will still do some of the events, not a lot because we're limited, of course. But I just need to talk to some of the, like Chubby Chipmunk, and see if they have an outdoor space maybe that we can have a signing. I'm not sure if many of you would be interested still in coming, if you're local or if you want to drive in. That's really up to you. I understand if you don't want to take your chances. My sister is going to make me some really fun face masks so that I can, we can have pictures maybe with our face masks on if we need to. But we're going to try to be careful. And if we can do it outside, I think that might help and keep some distance between everybody. And maybe we can still, have some small get-togethers and kind of limit things. But we'll see. I mean, I really can't, who knows with the future and who knows how this is going to go. The last thing I want to do is get anybody sick, entice anyone to come so they get sick. I would hate for anything to happen to any of you guys related to this whole mess. But at the same time, I still want to go up there. If anything, if it doesn't work out, we're still going. We might just spend the time researching, which is always fun. We like to go to the South Dakota room in the Deadwood Library and read up on what's going on. So that's kind of where we stand. I need to talk to the Deadwood History Group about the Adams House and the haunted or the paranormal investigation. I don't know if maybe we can do, and the Black Hills Paranormal Group, I've got to talk to those guys, or Black Hills Paranormal Investigators, to see what they think as well. But maybe we could see if we can do a smaller group going in and do maybe 2 investigations that night since we won't be having the fan party first. I don't know. But I will know more after this week, after I talk to Rose at the Rose Spears, who I've been working with to set this all up. So that's kind of the news on the signing. The other thing I wanted to talk to everybody about who's here, a virtual signing. Now, I've been thinking about this a lot, ways that we could have a fun online signing. You know, it's kind of limited, but we could do Facebook Live like this when I get the printed versions of Deadwood 11 here. And we could do where you order a book through my store. And then once it pings in, I know who ordered, and then I can talk and see, what do you want to do for the signing? What would you like me to put on your book? And we can ship it to you. So there is that option. It would be virtual, but I can kind of interact with you some like we would at a real signing. And that way you could be sitting at home and whatever you want to not have to worry about, you know, catching anything or spreading anything. So that's just an option. I'm not sure how people feel about that, but I'm willing to give it a whirl and we can try it. And if you guys want to go for it that way as well this time. With all that's going on, we just have to be careful. We have to try new things and figure out new ways of doing stuff for a little bit as we working with this news. So let me look at a couple questions and comments and get us going. Thanks to all who showed up. It's a beautiful Sunday. I didn't expect many people to come because I know it's so lovely out. But for those of you who did, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me. Deborah Vesey, is it? I love the picture behind you. Thank you. Yes, me too. Outlaw Josie Wales, one of my favorite shows. Tara, maybe at an RV park. That is a possibility. I just need to, I'm thinking about what venues are up there currently, and a lot of them have space. Like I used to do book signings outside the Opera House. There's a nice little entryway that's pretty wide, and we would set up a table out there, and that's still a possibility. I haven't contacted them yet. So there are ways to do outside signings. There's all kinds of opportunities up there that we could still do things and have space around us, and yet still, you know, kind of do the more interactive stuff, social stuff. Jessica, are tickets for the paranormal refundable? I need to find that out, Jessica. And don't, one way or the other, even if it's me refunding you, we will make sure those of you who can't come will get your money back. Don't worry about that. I just need to find out if it's going to be the Deadwood people or me, or how we'll get your money back to you. But we'll make it happen. There's also, if we reschedule it, you can see if you want to reschedule too. So for those of you who have purchased tickets, I will have some answers for you. Joanne, face mask with tiny skulls in honor of Goose Tie. I told my sister, give me some fun fabric if you can. And so she's going to do it. And Deb says, I think the virtual is a great idea. Very cool. Thank you. Lori, you just got here. Yes, we were talking about a couple things, but you can always watch the repeat for just the beginning, Lori, and you'll catch what we were talking about. I don't want to bore everybody by going back through it. So let's see. I wanted to start with another announcement as we get stuff going. Life at the Coffin Joint we've had on sale for almost a month, and it's about to come off sale. So the ebook version of Deadwood Undertaker Series #1 is still currently 99 cents, but we will be changing that in the next day or so. So if you know anyone you want to give it to as a gift, if you haven't purchased it, you want this opportunity to get that ebook for 99 cents, it's almost over the time frame, and then we'll put it back to normal price for a while. So wanted you to know about that. And the other announcement, let's see, I'm going all over the place looking at stuff. Donald, I enjoy these weekly video discussions. Thank you. Will they continue during these fun times? I'm going to try to do one from Deadwood. I thought it might be fun if we go up there, and as well into the summer. We'll see how everybody's responding. You know, if everybody wants to keep stopping in at different times, we'll make the video recording so you can always watch them later. But we'll keep going, and we can figure out what to talk about. We got books yet to go, so we can talk about a lot of stuff yet. And Diane, virtual signings sound like a good option even for folks who cannot travel regardless of COVID. Great, Diane. I'm glad you think so, because I've heard, I know someone that's done them, and it went pretty well. It's just you miss out a little bit of that personal, and then, you know, I'm always hugging on people, driving them crazy, touch, which can't happen. So virtual just takes away that, but I still think we could have fun. And once I know who bought the book, I could talk to you a little bit. And if you have questions, you could put them in this feed, and then I could answer your questions. So, and we could have, you know, each person gets like 5 minutes or 10. I don't know. We'll figure something out. So let's see. The other announcement I wanted to make quick before we get really going. So Devil Days in Deadwood, book number 11. It's almost here. The pre-order button for the ebook will go live this week. And I will let you know. You'll hear it in the wind. There'll be planes flying across the sky doing smoke messages to let you know the pre-order button's out there. Just check back, seriously. Facebook, Twitter, wherever, will have the pre-order button up. I probably will even have it on my website if I'm organized enough to get it up there. But you can pre-order it, the ebook, not the print book yet. Print has been shut down more because I don't know if you guys know about what's going on in the print industry, with Essential being important at Amazon and other publishing or distributors are not listed as essential, so things have been shut down. So there's backlog, there's all kinds of stuff, and it's going to take a while, I think, for the print book market to get rolling again. Hopefully we can get books without a problem. I'm going to order as soon as I can. We'll see what happens. But ebooks, definitely. Audiobooks, that will come. I have to work with Carolyn Schaefer on that, and that means it takes probably 6 months or more because we have to go through our middlemen. We have to do all the organizing, chat, and make it all happen. But there will be an audiobook in time of Deadwood 11. In the meantime, Beta Crew will get their books this week, and I've already picked the Beta Crew based on pass and all that kind of stuff, and I'm limited on number. I talked about this last week. I can only handle so many Beta Crew members because I'm the one who runs that, and I can only do so much with so much feedback. So those guys are going to get the book this week so they can go through it and help me find the last little bits of problems that are in there. Meanwhile, we are you can sign up at this time to be a Devil Days deputy is what we're going to say. So it's a Deadwood deputy in short. But if you want to sign on to be a Deadwood deputy, which that is the promo team, these are the folks that talk about it on Facebook, Twitter, all the other social networking. They share links to the new book. They put reviews in for me on different venues like Goodreads and Barnes and Noble and out wherever you can put a review. And the bathroom at the truck stop, you can write in "Buy Devil Days" by Ann Charles. Anything I probably shouldn't encourage you to do that. That's a crime. But anyway, you could put it on your chest and go stand in front of a video camera. That'd be good for local news. So this is the Deadwood deputy team, and this is what they do. They help me get word out about the books. And we are taking people for that already. We haven't officially announced it. We won't be sending out an official announcement until the end of May. But you can sign up for it now. If you want to, just put Devil Days Deputy in a subject line. Send me and your mailing address, not your email, your mailing address in the body of it, and send it to reader@anncharles.com. We have lots of fun prizes that the deputies win every time. There's posters, and I send everybody a thank you card that I write. And I do write those. It takes me several days, but I write thank yous to everybody. And this time for this run, one of the fun things we have are purple boot soaps. They smell like grapes. Yum, yum, yum. So some of the deputies will win purple boot soaps, and there'll be posters to win and all the good stuff we usually do. So again, if you want to sign up to be on the promo team, you can do it at any time. You just go reader@anncharles.com. In the subject line, Devil Days Deputy, and in the body, put your name. You want to be a deputy, and then put your mailing address so that we can mail you the cards, and if you win a prize, we will win you a prize as well. So that is the news, and the release date we decided today is going to be Friday, May 22nd for Devil Days in Deadwood. So pre-order buttons coming this week. The official release will be May 22nd, unless something goes crazy and Amazon screws up. Notice it wasn't me, it was, but anyways, unless something happens, God willing and the creek don't rise, that's what will be happening, May 22nd. So that is the end of my announcements. Let's get on to the fun stuff. Let's talk about Gone Haunting. Let's see if we have any questions, any thoughts, anything coming in on Gone Haunting. Let me check here for anything. Rick. Cahoots was awesome and audible. Thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. We had, Lisa was so wonderful. She had so much fun. I love Carolyn Schaefer's voice. She's awesome. But Lisa has Larson, who she does my other series as well as the Deadwood shorts. And she's currently working on Fatal Traditions. I heard the first 15 minutes of that already. Lisa is really good at emphasizing the expressions, saying them the way I would probably say them. She and I have gotten really good at, I write it, she says it just about how it sounds in my head, which is a lot of fun, which that's why she's great now for the Morgan sisters, because those guys say some crazy stuff. I'm glad you enjoyed it, though. Let's see. Heather, I hang a book cover on my office door at the jail. That's awesome, Heather. You're so awesome. That's a lot of fun. So let's get started. I don't see any questions. And you guys, if you want to be available, no, let's start this over. If you want a shot at winning the mug today, you have to ask me a question. That's the deal. I love conversations and comments. Don't get me wrong. But if you want that mug, a shot at it, then you got to ask me a question. And Deb Gray, I just saw your comment about my hat. And those of you who came to the fan party last year recognize this hat. This is the AC from the Silly Circus series. I dressed up as AC, who runs the circus, and this is my AC hat. It's surprisingly comfortable, although I jingle a lot. I think the cats might attack me if I sit still too long because of that bell thing. But it's a fun hat. So I thought I'd wear it today. Let's see. Let's look at these questions. When writing the TV crew, this must be the paranormal reality crew in the Deadwood series. And this is from Christina Wynn, have you ever worked with one or just researched how production works? I had a friend who had a friend that was a camera person for one of those where they went to all the houses that were kind of nasty and they would spend a week cleaning it up. It was kind of like Hoarders. I guess it was a Hoarders. She was the camera person for that. So she was kind of like my version of Rosie from the start. So she would tell me a few things and I learned through just discussions. And then I did some research as well to learn about the TV crew. And since it's such a small crew, it didn't, there wasn't much needed as if we were going into a studio and doing stuff. I have done some stuff where I've gone into the newsroom and been on the news. So I have seen that as well. I've been on TV a little bit. That's always really scary. Ooh, it's hard enough when you're on radio, but TV, oh boy. So I did have some help with that when I started writing that about that crew coming in. Let's see, another question. What powers does the ring that Zoe gave Violet have? That's Barbara. We have yet to see. A lot of times Zoe's charms and rings and stuff are mostly protection. She doesn't really have superpowers. It's a form of different forms of protection. Like back in I think it was Deadwood 5, at the very end when Violet's walking up to the house where Frasia's standing and she passes what turns out to be Mr. Black. And he sees, I think it's her necklace, isn't it? Some kind of funky necklace thing. And his eyes go to that snake thing and it flashes. And what that charm or that necklace does is it the others will hide behind trying to look normal. And there's something about that they react. And it lets Violet see who her potential enemies are. So the ring, I'm trying to remember the details of that ring. I remember she had it, and I'm going to think about that some more and think if it comes back to me. But I know it was just a form of protection of sort. Have you ever gotten feedback from either beta readers or any of the books that have changed the course of a storyline? From Sarah Keto. Hi, Sarah. I don't know that you've asked questions before. If you have, I'm sorry. Your name is new for me. Have I ever changed? Well, okay. So one time I had that Ray was selling a ranch at the western edge of the Black Hills to a couple. And I think I had it listed as 20 acres. And one of my beta readers came back and he said, that's not really usual. That's a small, very small. And, he said it would be more likely, I think it was 40 or 60. So I changed that because of the beta reader, what they said. I've had beta readers come back with Things like, that's not who sings that song. This, even though I thought all this time it was so-and-so singing that song, it's so-and-so actually. So I fixed that. Beta readers are really good at catching lack of end parentheses, punctuation. They don't really, nobody touches commas for the most part unless it's blatant. And that's because everybody has their own style with commas. So I let my editor do comma work in addition to all the other stuff she does. But I let her decide on that. But beta folks will come back with really amazing insights on things that they know, things that they, everybody's experts in their own way on different things. And that's what this beta team is really good at doing, is coming and saying, hey, I know about this particular thing, and I think you need to maybe change it to this, or this isn't true, and here's the real deal. So I really rely on them for not just finding those last little spelling errors and punctuation errors, but also giving me feedback on continuity issues for the whole series as well. Hey, didn't you have Violet already, do this back over here? Or she had done this, so how can she possibly do this now? They find that as well. And a lot of times they'll prep before we start with reading previous books. I will tell them, hey, you might want to read book 7 and 9 to get ready for book 10 or something like that, because we reference stuff there, so they'll prep for it. Some will reread the whole series just getting ready for it. So that's kind of what the beta crew does. Just one of the things, they're really good at finding little tiny things. Let's see, I've kind of been talking here, so let's see. I just finished the second book in the Undertaker series. Might we see a living executioner in present-day Deadwood? That's April. A living executioner in present-day Deadwood. April, I want you to write in again and give me more on that, because Violet's a living executioner in present-day Deadwood. Is that what you mean? Or, I know Prudence is not. So clarify your question for me, okay? Do you and maybe Mr. Lucky read your dialogue out loud to ensure that it sounds natural? That's from Bob. When Mr. Lucky and I go through the Deadwood Undertaker series together, we each do our part, and then we come together, and he's on the computer and I'm reading from a printout, and we read through it. I'll read through it, and he'll take parts and I'll take parts, and we'll read through it. We don't act out the dialogue in any way. He would probably be a much better actor than I am. I'm a real crappy actor. I only had one acting class in college, and it wasn't pretty. So I will read my own books as well. I don't read them out loud. I'll try to read parts out loud to see the flow, the cadence, the pacing, but I don't really read out loud as a acting so much sort, just in bits, small bits here and there to see how it sounds. So that's pretty much the way it goes for each book. I do read out parts that are funny, though, to me, because I like to read them a couple times. They'll make me laugh. Do you think it scares Doc a bit when Violet goes on Scharfrichter, turns into a Scharfrichter? That's from Kimberly. I do. I think it does. If I was him and I was sleeping next to her every night, I would be really nervous about her bad dreams, because she is a killer. And what if, she has a bad dream and she comes out of it and grabs any part of him? I definitely wear all my underclothes at night around her. And maybe, if I was a guy, a cup, because what does she need in the sleep? There's all kinds of things to think about when you're sleeping next to a killer. So I think I think there's parts of him that is a little apprehensive. We'd have to ask him. And he's really, him and Cooper, they're really hard for me to get stuff out of. I need thumb screws. Let's see. Last week, this is from Joanne. Last week you mentioned Jeff's girlfriend's tattoo. I did. When did Violet realize that this is why she kept thinking about him? She hasn't. That is between you and me. We know about Jeff's girlfriend's tattoo. We also know because we read the Deadwood Undertaker series, and so we know what those tattoos mean back then. We also know a little bit more about him now. So Violet, well, she really only knows about that she has them. So most of our knowledge as readers come from the Undertaker series about what those tattoos mean. So Violet hasn't gotten there yet. Will she get there soon? Da-da-da-da. We shall see. Keep reading. All right, let's see. Is Aunt Zoe a witch? That's Melissa. No, she's not. Aunt Zoe is not a witch. As Violet, and I think Aunt Zoe said, because when Hawk started calling Violet a witch, Violet told Aunt Zoe, and didn't Aunt Zoe say something like, "No, we're not witches. That's not in our family line." So she is not a witch, but she does have ways. Her charms are more protective. I don't know. We'll have to explore that more so I can say it more clearly. But she has different ways of bringing out the bad guys so that it protects Violet. And she also knows a ton about the history of the family. And she is the one writing the history. So that is all Aunt Zoe wrapped up. I think of her kind of like, if you watch the Harry Potter movies or read that book, she's kind of like a Hermione. Her and Doc are both in that role where they will research, they know things, wisdom. They're the one you go to when you need to know, how do I handle this? And Aunt Zoe doesn't even know always on all the stuff on what Violet can do, because that family history book, unfortunately, it's not a how-to guide so much. It's what happens guide. And there's a big difference in that. There is no, you can try what this other person did in your family line, but it might not work. And something I talked about early on, I don't remember which book, as the executioners, as time goes on, the executioners mix with other people, other beings, and grow stronger. At the same time, the others are mixing and growing and adapting as well. So each is upping its game in new ways. So what worked 300 years ago, 400 years ago, might not work anymore on the other, like the white grizzly, because, or I guess they're called the bone cruncher, because they've evolved some along with the executioner. So it changes the game, which makes it really tough. It makes it a tougher game for Violet. Okay, let's see. Where were Doc and Coop not always able to see the scary things in the barn in Slagton? Were Doc and Coop not always able to see the scary things in the barn in Slagton? Are you, Pat? This is from Pat. Pat, I need you to clarify that question as well. In the barn in Slagton, there was, in the barn was the guy, oh man, words are bad for me today. It was the guy that had lived in the, oh my God, someone help me. It was not a bad guy. It was one of the Slagton residents. And it was the guy that was Cooper's snitch, basically, who was in the barn, in the woodshed barn. Now, there's also the barn at the snitch's house where Violet first encounters one of the chimera, or saber-tooth turkey, as she likes to call it. So I need to know which barn you're talking about. That was my question. Very badly worded. Are Coop and, that was me. I mean, very badly worded. Are Coop and Natalie going to get together? That's Lucy. Lucy, have you read In Cahoots with the Prickly Pear? Oh my God. In Cahoots with the Prickly Pear Posse. Jack Rabbit #5. If you have not, I'm not going to talk about this at this time, but I think you should read that book if you haven't. And that will partly answer your question, which it's a really fun book. And Coop and Natalie are in it. I love the concept of Violet's team. This is from Donald. Oh, are they aware? Are they usually solo operators or two in the case of twins? You mean Violet's team with Cooper and everybody, or you mean Violet's history, her line? Usually, if we're talking about her family line, usually they run solo unless there are twins, of course. But then even as twins, I think a lot of times they would run solo because, executioner, it's really it's a solo kind of job, killing. You can work together when needed, but it's not really it's like any killer job. You always see those guys and women, they're off on their own doing it because they have to sneak up on people. Time for a drink. Wow, Mr. Lucky did put a lot of tequila in that. Wow. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Lucky. That's good. Will we see more from Wilda? That's from Corey. Wilda. Yes, we will. Because those of you who know from, was it 9? Jeez, written all these books, it starts to merge after a bit. Wilda has a twin, as we know, the changeling. And then the changeling, there's also a parasite ghost that has come back as well in addition to Mrs. Hessler. I swear I did not drink a lot of tequila before this started. I did not, but I sound like I've been drinking for hours. So I apologize for my bumbling speech. We will hear more from Wilda. She is far from done, but more than likely it'll be the changeling operating things at this point, because Wilda is kind of a puppet as well. What does Jane have to do with the hellhole? That's from Kimberly. Kimberly, when that pre-order button shows up this week, get your book, because I'm going to answer that question when you read the book. And I think you're going to enjoy book 11 quite a bit. Fingers crossed. So that's as much as I'm going to answer for that, because I do not want to ruin anything that's about to come your way. Will more be added to the team? That's Joanne. You know, I don't know, Joanne. Right now, there's a lot of people on the team, and they're pretty good at what they do. However, there is Susie. No, I said I do that all the time. Rosie. Remember, I say Susie for Rosie? There is Rosie, who is the camera woman, and she'll be back. I really love that character. She's a lot of fun. Frasia's still in there, so we still have Frasia around. And there will be some more crew coming and going, you know, secondary characters, as well as, you know, Mona. We haven't really spent a lot of time with Mona in book 10. We didn't. And there'll be more from her, I'm sure, because that's just the way Mona is. So there will be more happening around and more involvement. And then as for the team itself, their strengths will keep growing and developing as we go. This is from April. I meant another executioner besides Violet. Okay, April. So you had asked if we will see, might we see a living executioner present day Deadwood besides Violet? We might. I'm not going to answer that with more than there is a lot to come, and there is a lot of bad stuff going on, and it's getting worse, and it's going to get exciting even more so than it was before. The first 10 books are a lot about Violet learning what she is, accepting what she is, and starting to experiment with what she is, the executioner. Now we're over that. We're to the first turning point of the series. And so now, as we head in toward the midpoint of the series, now we're going to start seeing Violet in action as an executioner. Now she's there, and now she has to work at what she does, as well as her regular normal life. So that's kind of the feel as you go through this next group of books that I'll be writing. It's going to be a lot of fun, and Violet being Violet will not be perfect. So we'll have to see how she fares in this new role of hers now that she's accepted what she is. So there might be more. You'll see. Keep reading. It's fun. I have a lot of fun planned for you guys too. Doesn't Doc prevent Violet from having bad dreams? That's Elena. Yes, he does. He is like a good luck charm at night. There's something part of his abilities with Violet is that he offsets that. And if you go back from the start, you will see that I have had that going on where whenever Violet, very rarely, I can't think that she does not have nightmares when Doc is there with her. She has nightmares when she is alone. So as Mr. Black said in this book, Doc offers a reprieve from her nightmares with his abilities. Naturally, it happens. Cornelius liked the clockmaker. Will they interact again soon? From Barbara Guy. Thanks, Barbara, for that question. I love that scene with Cornelius and the clockmaker. I love how he is just totally smitten with her. and just kind of, Cornelius, who usually runs his mouth when he needs to. It made me laugh as I wrote that scene. So do I think we'll go back there? I do. Doc is the one that's going to have to take us back. He's the only one that knows where that door is. But we're going to need to know more about the timekeepers and the clockmakers and all that stuff as we move forward. So I foresee another visit in the future, our appearance of that clockmaker. She was very fun. I really liked her. Let's see. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Sorry, everybody. Let's see here. Any more seeing Violet's brother Quint in Deadwood? That's from Cynthia. Hi, Cynthia. Yeah, I think Quint will be back again. However, he's just about in the big timeline. He is just about to head down to Yucatan. So for those of you who haven't read Quint's stories, the Dig Site books, now we're just about to the point where he's going down there and starting up down there. I do foresee him stopping back. I do foresee more interaction with him. He plays a part in this whole big series world. So him and Violet have their roles. And I think in time they're going to, of course, find out about each other. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun when that happens. Are your books on audio? That's from Lucy. Yes. Audible. Yes, Lucy. Everything is on Audible at this point except for Undertaker series 1 and 2. We haven't had that done yet. And then Fatal Traditions is not yet on audio, but all the other books are available on Audible. And definitely Audible on Amazon and Apple. So you can find them all out there. And when will we learn more about Violet's brother? This is Dawn Burr. Well, there's going to be a book 3. It's coming. I wanted to write it. I wanted to have it done this summer. That didn't happen. And to be honest, I was going to write it after Deadwood 11 and Undertaker number 3. I gotta fix my bill. But that is probably not going to happen either, because I think Deadwood 12 has to come next. With the timing and the way the world's run, I'm kind of using that as a fuel point to figure out what comes next. So most likely for me, after working on Deadwood Undertaker 3 with Mr. Lucky, I'm going to be writing Deadwood 12 and have that out hopefully by the end of the year as well. And then, fingers crossed, I can go to Dig Site, because I miss Dig Site and I really want to see what happens next. But I also miss Jackrabbit Junction, so there is that as well. Is Violet's brother also going to be an executioner, or is he going to be part of the team? That's Melissa. Melissa, have you read the Dig Site series? Because in Dig Site number 2, you find out what Quint is. And he is not an executioner because executioners are only female. So only females can be executioners. That's why it appears that there's little things with Addie starting to show signs of it. It's been Violet. Everyone in the past has been female. Males in her line, as we learn in Fatal Traditions, males, at one point, the executioner in Violet's family line mated, for better words, lack of better words, with a summoner, which are always male. So they had children, lots of children, who went on and had more children. So not only are there executioners in Violet's line, but there's also summoners now. So, but I suggest you read the Dig Site series, especially number 2, because then you'll learn more about that. Will we ever find out if Violet's sister clears up her mess? Yes, we will, Heather. Susan is off to fix things, but it might take a little bit. So give it a little time. And remember, in Deadwood world, we go a week for a story. It used to be in the old days when I first started writing. One of my stories would take 2 to 3 weeks, time-wise, in the story. It just seemed to time out 2 to 3 weeks. If you look at Dance of the Winnebagos, and I believe Deadwood number 1 and 2 maybe, they're 2-week-long stories. But man, so much crap happens now really fast in the stories with all that's going on, that I can't seem to write a book that takes more than a week of time. So I'm trying to move the storylines along to catch up to everything. But on the other hand, there's a lot of stuff going on, and we got to check it out. Let's see what else. Will you see the Chinese tunnels? Hey, Kenneth. You know, when I was a kid and I'd go to Deadwood, there was this corner shop. I think it was on the corner, wasn't it? Those of you from Deadwood can help me with this. It's now where the Holiday Inn sits. And there was a drugstore right up above it. And you'd go down these steps and you'd go into this where they had the Chinese tunnels. And it was like a Chinese tunnel museum. And it was so neat. And it was always nice and cool too, which is why I'd go in there to escape the heat of the day in the summer. And it was, I believe it was free. So I could walk down in and check out some of the history. And they had a little, it seemed like it was a mini museum. So then that building burnt, that whole block almost burned, it seemed like. And then with F.L. Thorpe's on it and others. And then they rebuilt with the Holiday Inn. So those are gone. But they are finding all those things up by Tin Lizzie up at the end of the street that's up in the old Chinatown part of Deadwood. So I foresee that coming into play in the future as things happen, because it's a really interesting part of their history. And I think it's a lot of fun. And if you remember back to Who Killed Prudence, that Doc discovered in book 2 when he switched places with her, I do believe they were either speaking Chinese or something along those lines. So I'd have to go back and dig to be sure. And again, I'm sorry if I seem spacey, but I've been heavy editing book 11, so my brain's really in that part of the world right now. But there will be more fun to come. Deadwood has so much history in so many different areas. It's just incredible. And Mr. Lucky and I learn that more and more, even in greater detail as we research for Deadwood Undertaker series. Frisia is a descendant of Big Jake Tender. This is from Barbara Guy. Will that mean she will become a bigger part of the team? There is a possibility. I don't want to ruin, I'm trying to be really careful with you guys here. So I don't mean to not answer your questions, but I don't want to give away too much either, because I think there's fun in what you don't know. Frisia's not going away. Even if Violet manages to sell Galena House, Frisia's not going away. Frisia thought she wanted to go away, but she's not, because I'm not going to let her, because I like her too much. I do see her coming into play some more in the future. She's really fun. She likes to do stuff to help out Natalie and Violet. So she's kind of like a third musketeer in a way for them. So there will be more of Frisia to come. And I love that she's part of the Big Jake Tender story. So we shall see what's yet to come, Barbara. Who does Violet hate the most? Rex's sister or Doc's ex? Kimberly. Oh, and don't forget Ray, because he's pretty bad too. And Dominic is quickly becoming a problem for Violet as well. So I don't know, but her sister and her have been at it for a long, long time. And then after that, of course, is Rex as well. So I think she has, what is it? BFF, best friends forever. BEF, best enemy forever. I don't know. That sounds really weird, who her Beth is. No, I don't know which one she hates the most. She's got depth with all of them, and reason that they all drive her nuts. And Doc's ex is just a new problem that keeps getting worse. So, and she will continue to get worse. Tiffany's not going anywhere either. So we shall see. Let's just keep our fingers crossed Violet doesn't accidentally kill anyone, being the killer that she is. Ha ha ha. Since Nearly was published in 2011, this is from Bob, do you see the events in your book taking place in the 2010 to 2011 timeframe, or does it even matter since there is never any discussion of events in the real world? I try to keep things a little bit more current. The problem is technology changes so fast. So, of course, when you go back to when there were cell phones that were more like flip phones versus cell phones that, now you can FaceTime, which we saw in another show where Natalie and Violet she takes Natalie into the Mutter Brothers garage on FaceTime, basically. And it continues to change. So it's not really in the 2010, 2011 frame. Things keep changing. I try now to be more careful about being vague, like Violet, what she drives. She drives a Honda Pilot. I know those have been around for a while, and they're still making them, which is good. So I try to pick vehicles, but I not give the years. I want this series to hold out for a little while and not be too dated for as long as it can. in that way, that's what's nice about the Undertaker series that Mr. Lucky and I work on, because with the Undertaker series, it's all set. Everything is set in stone now. So you can write about what happened and worry about in 10 years, it'll still be the same setting. It's a little bit tougher with the modern day series. How many books do you expect to be in the Deadwood arc? Sarah, way back when I first started, people would ask me how many books are going to be in this Deadwood series. And this is like when I had 1 and 2 out. And I would say, I don't know, 12 is a pretty good number. Let's see where we're at 12. Well, we're almost at 12. So, and now I think, we're still in between the first turning point and the midpoint of this whole series with what I'm thinking is going to happen, what I have planned out for the whole series arc. So I don't know, because some books run longer, some things go fast. Sometimes it takes me more books to cover a month than it did previously. So I don't have a good number, unfortunately, or a set number planned out. I will say that as long as you guys want to keep reading, as I keep telling this, thing over the series arc that I plan, as long as you guys are game, I'm going to keep writing it. There's a lot of growth for all the characters to go through yet. We're not done. We're just getting started with them, learning what they can do, how they can help. Violet is still a novice at a lot of this. She's not a pro by any means. She's nowhere close to where Prudence the ghost is, even dead. Prudence makes fun of Violet all the time and talks about how stupid Violet is and how she's can't do her job. And there's good reason for that. Prudence has done a lot. She had done a lot in her time, and now she's still around in her own way. So Violet has a lot to learn and understand, and so does Doc and Cooper and all of them with what they can do as their abilities keep changing, and they keep changing and growing. So I don't have a set number yet, but we're going to keep going. Like I said, as long as it's entertaining. Who would have figured series could ever run over 20? But look at Janet Evanovich. Look at, what is that book with she goes through the alphabet? I don't think she's alive anymore, sadly. But she was doing all these different, A is for such and such, B is for that. She got almost to Z, I believe. Y, maybe? So if a series can hold up, I think it has a lot of potential to keep going. And as someone who loves to read and watch series, I don't want them to end unless they get really lame. But most series hold up pretty strong. Okay, so that was Sarah. With Violet's dad knowing his family history, do you think he tried to prepare her since birth, or was it hidden from Violet's mom? Melissa, it is hidden from Violet's mom because Hope can't handle this, and that's the way they run. Violet's dad has known since the beginning, and he and Aunt Zoe were watching for signs of it to come to life in Violet. See, not every generation has the female turn into an executioner. Executioners are called up when they're needed, meaning the danger, the opposing force has gotten to such a state that it lights something up within those executioners. The lines light up, they hear, they produce them, but not everybody is called to fight. You can decide what you will on what is calling that, what is instigating it, whether it's nature or some other force. That's up to you to figure out. But Violet's dad, Aunt Zoe's level was not needed like that. So Aunt Zoe is not an executioner, but Violet is, and the signs were there from the start that it was coming because the great grandma recognized it. Will Violet's dad play a bigger part in her training? He knows she woke up. Joanne, that's to come, and there is very much a possibility, but he also has other things that he excels at. Each person plays a part, and we have yet to learn more about Blake and all he has to offer, so that's coming. Let's see. Oh, that makes me think of something, Hope, which is Blake's wife and Violet's mom, which also plays indirectly with Hope Prentice, whose birthday it is today. So Hope, if you're watching, happy birthday. I haven't written to you yet. Let's see. Will Zoe ever give Reed a chance? I know he hurt her, but I am rooting for him. Elena, he did hurt her. He screwed up big time. However, he is really good. He is really stubborn. He will not give up. He keeps hanging on. And I just think he may eventually chip away enough, but we'll see. We'll see what's happening. Joanne said Forever, Miss Charles, as long as you write, I will read. Thank you, Joanne. We gotta fill up more walls. It seems like it's at your work, or is it in your room near where you're working now? We gotta keep adding posters. Let's see. Go back to other questions. You guys are awesome. Thank you for all these questions. And let's see. Will Violet's dad play? Will Zoe give in? Will Ray be canned in his role? And is his role going to get smaller? That's from Heather Taylor. Hi, Heather. Ray is not done. I will say that Ray does not play a big part in book 11. As you know, different books have different storylines and different crew that comes for that storyline. And Ray is not so much in book 11. However, others are in book 11, other villains, other troubles, as well as the crew. All of them, Natalie and Cooper and Harvey are all back from Arizona. Everybody's there. So Ray is not going away. He's still there at the fringes, and he's biding his time. So he will be back, and there will be more from good old Ray. Unfortunately, he'll be back. That's my best Arnold Schwarzenegger I can give you. Is Dominic going to be killed or be an enemy like Ray? From Dawn. Hi, Dawn. Dominic is something way more. He's even worse than an other, or better, bigger. Choose your adjective. He has been around for a long, long time, and he's not going anywhere easily. I believe we've determined in the past that an executioner such as Violet can kill Dominic, which I do believe he is now being called a guardian by a couple of the characters. An executioner can kill a guardian. However, it could likely kill the executioner trying to kill the guardian. So they are formidable opponents. And Dominic has been there a long time and is no fool. So stay tuned for more on Dominic, is all I could say. It's going to get even more fun. Oh, wait, we have a winner. We have a winner for the mug. And the winner is, Rick. Rick-esque. And I let me spell your last name, Rick, so you know I'm talking about you. E-S-K-E is the winner. Yay! You get the mug. So, Rick, send me a private message with your mailing address, even though I know I have it, because you've been a Deadwood deputy before, I believe. And I will forward it on to Mark and Michelle. So congratulations, you get a mug. Yay! I hope to get to see you still this summer. I know you were coming, and I will let you know about, you were on for the haunted house, I believe, as well. So I'll let you know more about that. Thank you, Michelle and Mark, for the mug. You guys are so awesome. Is Dominic going to be killed? Will there be more short stories to keep us informed? Oh, thank you for asking about the short stories, Rick. Speaking of the winner, there is a very strong possibility there will be more stories, because there are side stories that I want to tell you about, but I can't really figure out how to put them in the main thing, from, with Violet and all that's going on without slowing down that big main story line. So there will very likely be more shorts, Deadwood shorts. And, eventually I hope someday I'll have enough that I just can put them in a whole big book, and there are, or 2 volumes, because they're starting to get to be now 30 to 40,000 word novellas. I tell you, I can't write a short story to save my life. Every time I try to write a short story, it becomes the next length up. And for this new book, Deadwood 11, I had planned on writing, I thought, let's keep it at 100K. That's a good sized book. I mean, most books nowadays tend to be 60 to 80. So 100K is a good sized book, I thought. And then I got to 100K and I still had a lot more to go. So I thought, okay, it's going to be 120. And, that's this size book. Well, I hit 120 and I was like, shoot, we're still not done. I still have to finish the story. I'm not going to rob you guys and rip you off at the end. That's my thing. I don't like rushed endings. I don't like feeling gypped at the ending. I don't mind cliffhangers, which I do write as well. But I don't want to leave, things left. I don't want to make the reader feel like, oh my gosh, we just cut that off. We're done. What? I want to fulfill the story question, answer it in total. So 135,000 words did not make the 100K cut. But so that's like a regular book on top of a novella. Oh, I can't help it. I write long. That's how this goes. There's a lot of characters. We got fun stuff to talk about. Oh, I think I went way off course there. So let's get back to the questions. It's probably the tequila. It is strong today. Will there be more short stories? That was the one I just answered. Will there be more interaction between the series? From Kenneth. More interaction between the series. Oh, you mean like with Jackrabbit and Dig Site? Yes. We're going to continue, especially when I get to write the next Dig Site. There is going to be more overlapping and crossovers going on. And if I could ever write the Nevada series I want to write, you would see even more because there's stuff going on down there that I haven't even had time to tell you guys about. It's really fun. So someday I hope to get to that. I really do need a clone, but like I say, if I had a clone, I really think she would live with me for a while, but then she'd get annoyed with me, and then she'd probably kill me, and then take over my family and my life. It'd be really creepy. My family might like her better too, so we don't want to do that. What does Dominic want? Is Hawk? Oh, wait, I missed one. Sorry. Is Hawk returning to town? That's Pat. Yes, he is. He is in book 11. He is back in all his Hawk glory. Oh boy. And yes, Violet and him are fighting still. There's no love together yet. They're not singing any happy duets. What does Dominic want with the liver? Doc is I'm Don Black. I think Wendy, Sister Wendy, can you write this one again to me? What does Dominic want with the liver? Doc, is he plotting something? Don Black. I don't think I got that question right. I don't know about the liver, so I'm going to wait and see if that comes back, Don. When will we find out more about the body parts on Harvey's Ranch? April. We will go back out to Harvey's Ranch. It won't be in book 11. We have something to take care of in book 11. And I will tell you right now, we have to catch a leader. Am I saying that right? Leader. So we've got to catch that smoky devil. That's got to be done. We're out of time. So we're going to have to figure out what to do and see if we can manage that. At least that's the goal. And then we will be back out. Harvey's Ranch is far from done. Will Jane reveal more about what is under the real estate office? Robin Carter. Robin, you've got to read Deadwood 11. I think you're going to love hearing what's going on there. So that's my answer to your question, which is really not an answer. But when you read Deadwood 11, then you'll find my answer to that question. Jane said Ray is not alone. Who is with him? Barbara. We're going to find out more about that as well. So read 11, and Jane is far from gone. She's becoming, if you will, part of the whole team here in her own way. So there's more to come on that, Robin. No, Barbara. That was Barbara's question. Have you ever met someone who reminds you of one of your characters? Becky Binder. Hi, Becky. I like to stalk Becky. So, and I hope to come up and stalk you again this summer, Becky. Have I ever met someone who reminds me of one of my characters? No, yes and no. Some of these characters are bits and pieces of people I've met and stories they've told over the years. So, they're all based loosely off people I know or bits of stuff people I've seen or watched when I'm sitting at the airport and things they do. So there's little bits of that in all. There's not really a set character. Old Man Harvey was based off stories I knew of a guy I knew his grandson. His name was Harvey, and his grandson worked with me. So I knew stuff about him. And then I also, Jack Elam, who's an actor, I have pictured Harvey as kind of like Jack from the start, because Jack was one of my favorite Old West actors. So, it's based off people I've met or people I've seen on TV, but not really someone I know per se. I'm pausing as I say that because I keep trying to think if there's anyone that's based off someone I know, but I don't think so at this time. But maybe I'll base someone off you, Becky, because you're pretty awesome. All right, let's see. Callie said the body parts were bait. What exactly did she mean, Joanne? Well, Joanne, if you remember, and I can't remember which book it's in, there was a Duzarx, I believe, Duzarx, that usually comes out, Prudence said, and takes the bodies. But this time it didn't. So Prudence, not if I said Jane, I meant Prudence says that. Prudence says the Duzarx come and takes the bodies usually, but it didn't this time. Why didn't it take him this time? I think is how the passage goes. And I cannot remember what book that is. But the Duzarx. And Callie then says at another time to Dominic, and I think it's in book 4 when they're under the pool, that he's lost the respect. And I can't remember if she says the name of that then as well, but he's lost respect of something about that, and it might have been the Duzark. So you're going to learn more about it. It's coming. So stay tuned. Autocorrect, Leaderk. Oh, is that supposed to be, so Darn Black. What does Dominic want with the Leaderk? Leaderk. Okay, not liver doc. Leaderk. Nice autocorrect. That was good. Is he plotting something? That's a really good question. And we're going to find out more in book 11. So you need to read that book. And then when we analyze that book, we can talk about that even more, or when we do the book club about that book. So you'll want to ask that again after you read that book, okay? That's a good question. Will there be aliens in the Nevada series? You're right, Kristen. I know, right? Because Nevada. The Nevada series has lots of potential and has many things. When I think about it, there's all kinds of things that are going on down there. It's another mining town. They've dug in the ground there as well. And there's more problems afoot. I just haven't had time to write about them. And I love the characters down there, which you read about in The Old Man's Back in Town. But that's all I've had time for. Yeah, I need to make time for more on that series as well, because Mr. Lucky and I have talked about it a lot and brainstormed it a lot and had a lot of fun with that series, but I can't get it off the ground because I have all these other series that are going on. So no aliens at this time. Do you expect to add any new supporting characters, Jan Lawrence? Someone asked me that as well earlier, Jan, and I do see more coming, just because it's not like we're operating within a certain little bubble. People are going to come and people are going to go, and I think that's how the series will continue to grow. And I think that's also why it's becoming each book is so long. There are so many plot lines and so many threads and so many fun characters that I have to choose at the start of each book. Which characters, what's the story question going to be? What are we doing in the whole series? And which characters are involved with this? And put them all in place. And that keeps changing and growing. I see more coming, as I said, for Rosie, and I said her name right this time, as well as Frisia. And there's others, and I mentioned it at the end of the Jackrabbit series number 5, Natalie's brother. We haven't met Natalie's brother yet. So there's more people to come, more characters to get involved, more fun to be had, lots more fun. And I'm certainly having fun with the current crew that is the core of Deadwood, which is Violet, Doc, Harvey, Reed, Zoe, Cornelius, and Nat and Cooper. So we have all them and more to come around them, as well as Mona and those of her coworkers and more. We have a break in questions, and we're almost getting to the end of the thing. And I didn't talk about, I wanted to read a passage from the new book to you guys. And this is different than I read last time. And thankfully, I haven't oh boy, I haven't finished all of this. So I think I can still read. I think I'm going to need a nap after this, so I can wake up and keep going. Let's see. Okay, so this is from Deadwood 11. This is to come in the new book. So when you read this and you have a deja vu, you're going to think, gosh, I think I read this book already. No, this is just me reading this little part to you. And this scene, this is Harvey and Violet. And she has just walked into Aunt Zoe's house where Harvey is waiting for her. They're about to have dinner, I believe, or supper. And that's as much as I'm going to give you. And I do not believe, Diane helped me pick this out. So thank you, Diane. And I do not believe this is going to give away anything too much in the story, but yet you'll still get a little piece of the new book. So bear with me as I read. Okay. Wait. I caught Harvey's arm, lowering my voice before asking, how's Aunt Zoe? Is she getting along with Reed? Reed's at the house, just so you know. While my aunt had invited her old flame to come cook for her, her horns might still be out and poking Reed in the backside. Harvey shrugged. She hasn't ridden in from the range yet. Good. I frowned toward the kitchen. You did hide her shotgun shells like we talked about, right? He huffed. You think I spit up wind? I haven't put much thought into which way you spit. Well, I don't. And the first thing I did when I brought your whippersnappers home was find that box of shells and tuck them away in your underwear drawer. I cocked my head. My underwear drawer? His 2 gold teeth shined through his whiskers. Yep. What the planets? Why there? I wanted to see if your skivvies had company. What sort of company? Was he talking about a live mouse, like the one Addie's cat Bogart had dragged into my room last month and left as a wake-up gift? The sort of company that comes with a pocket in front for a love plunger. It took me a blink to realize what he was talking about, and then my cheeks warmed. Harvey, whether Doc shares an underwear drawer with me is none of your business. It is too. How do you figure? I'm living at your stallion's place. Until my ranch sells, I need to know if me and Red are going to have to up and move anytime before the snow stops flying. I swallowed a walnut of guilt, being that I was Harvey's real estate agent and not having any luck finding someone to look at his place south of Deadwood, let alone put an offer on it. So, if Doc's underwear is sharing a drawer with mine, I trailed off with raised brows, then I figure he ain't going to be anxious to return home anytime soon. So Red and I can sit comfortable for a spell longer. Doc wouldn't kick you out even if he wasn't spending the night here. Doc wouldn't kick you out even if he wasn't spending every night here. I know, but sometimes a man likes to ride along solo for a time, especially when he spent most of his life as a loner out on the trail. That's the end. Woo-hoo! So, that is a little bit from, I got caught on my chair, Deadwood 11. It's coming. It's almost here. It's so close, you guys. I can't wait to share this with you and see where Violet's going and how life is going for everybody in Deadwood. It seems like it's been a long time since that Christmas book and Fatal Traditions came out. Hasn't really, but we have had this whole pandemic thing going on that's really made time kind of grind to a halt. So it sure feels like it's been years since we've got to spend with Violet. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Like I said, the pre-order button is going to be live anytime now. For those of you who signed up already to be a Deadwood deputy or who signed up earlier to be a Deadwood deputy, keep track. If you share stuff, if you're doing any of the pre-order sharing, if you're whatever you're doing ahead of time before we get going, keep track, just take notes. And then when it comes time that we're officially rolling with the promo group, you can write and say, hey, my name's so-and-so. I've already done this, and this, and send it in. All this pre-stuff counts as well towards, being part of the team. And we will have all kinds of fun prizes. And like I said, if you want to sign up early for the Deadwood Deputy team, email reader@anncharles.com and write in the subject line, Devil Days Deputy, and in the body of the email, put your physical mailing address and your name, including your name, and send it off to me, and we'll add you to the list already. And then once we really start rolling, you'll start getting more emails. So let's see if there's any other questions, and then we're going to wrap it up. I did say the winner this time. I did. One. Okay, so do you expect to edit? I did that one. Will Harvey ever settle down, or is he always going to be a ladies' man? That's from Brandy. I'd like to see Harvey happy and settled down. But, to be honest, I don't think settling down is what would make Harvey happy. He seems to kind of like to be a lone stallion, except he also likes family. So he's a mixture of wanting to be around Vi and the kids and family feel, but then he also having plenty of women on his arm. So maybe someday he'll find a woman that'll last him, but maybe not. So we will see over time, Brandy. Why do these older men keep saying hello to Sparky? And that's Barbara. And that's funny because Violet wants to know the same thing. Why are they saying hello to me all the time? And we're going to find that out as well. So stay tuned. And I think I'm going to wrap up for now. If I missed any of your questions, I will try this week to go through all the questions and comments here today. I try to get to it, but it takes a little bit because of the other stuff going on behind the scenes, and see if I missed anybody's question. And if I did, I will try to get back to you. And if you really, really, really want to know and not wait till another talk, send me a private Facebook message with your question. I can answer it as soon as I have a chance. Thank you all for coming. It's a wonderful Sunday, and I really didn't expect more than me and family to show up, if family, because, they're like, enough talking. My stepmom said she tried to listen to me, bless her heart, and it put her to sleep. So anyway, that's my family. Love them. Thank you for coming. Stay tuned for the Deadwood pre-order button. And I think I covered just about everything. Well, there was other stuff I didn't cover, but maybe we'll talk about it next week. I'll bring bring it with me and we can talk about it. When we talk about Don't Let It Snow, which is next. So thank you all for coming. I hope you have a wonderful Sunday afternoon, and I will talk to you in a week. Until then, be safe. Take care. Bye.